Hey, Dave here, and in today's video, I want to do a couple different things. First off, I want to talk about this lens, the Sigma 16mm lens for the Sony E-mount cameras. I love this lens, I've had it for a while, and I'm finally getting around to do a video on it. So that's the first thing I want to do. The other thing, I want to go for a hike and enjoy this beautiful area. I'm in the Gatineau Park up here in Canada. Love it this time of year. The leaves are changing. That's awesome. The third thing I want to do might be the most difficult, is not get lost in the woods. I tend to do that. So let's get started and take a look at the Sigma 16mm lens. Okay, so it's not a secret anymore that Sigma lenses are very good lenses. Not only are they affordable, which we can all appreciate, right? But they're also affordable and very good lenses. Now, is the Sigma 16 lens as good as some of the more expensive Sony lenses? Well, that's debatable. Now, I've used some very expensive Sony glass, and I love them. They're a lot of fun to use. But this Sigma 16 can really compete with some of those more expensive lenses. The Sigma 16 is a perfect lens for your Sony 6000 series camera. It's an APS-C lens, perfect for your APS-C Sony sensor. See how that works? Sure, there's a crop factor which makes the 16mm look more like a 24mm, I guess, but I'm fine with it. I can deal with it. Now, it's a prime lens. There's no zoom other than your camera's clear zoom, which you can use to zoom in a bit on your image. Some of the things I love about this lens is the fast aperture. You can shoot wide open at f1.4. That's amazing. This is great for photography and video. It allows you to shoot really wide open. Of course, if you're going to shoot wide open in the beautiful outdoors, you're going to need a good ND filter to control all your settings and make sure you get the image that you want. This lens has very good autofocus. It's pretty fast. It works really well with Sony cameras. Now, I'm using the Sony a6400, which also has very good autofocus built in. Now, when you pair that with the lens, it's very impressive. You're getting some pretty good autofocus. Now, the autofocus is pretty quiet, but if you listen really carefully, you can notice. But who's going to listen that carefully? Come on. As far as manual focus, this lens is great. It's got a nice, big, large focus ring, which I really love. This lens is very sharp for photos and for videos, and some say at wide open at f1.4, this lens really isn't as sharp as it should be. But to be honest, I've been using it quite a bit for photos and video, and I really haven't noticed it to be much of a problem. Now let's talk about bokeh for a second. For a wide angle lens, you get some very sweet bokeh with this lens and this camera. Once you are sharp on your object and your focus is bang on, that background just blurs out real nice. I love it. Alright, so I want to talk about the gear that I brought with me today. I'm a bit of a minimalist, especially today. Not for any political reasons or any real reasons. I just don't want to carry too much stuff. I'm kind of lazy. So I'm minimalist when it comes to being lazy. Anyways, today I just wanted to bring the one lens, which is the Sigma 16. I have my camera, the a6400. I have my Rode Video Micro microphone on there, and that's it. My backpack has a couple little things. Oh, sorry. I do have an ND filter on right now. But other than that, it's the camera, the lens, the mic, and the tripod, and that's it. That still sounds like a lot of stuff, doesn't it? How can I be even more minimalist next time? Not sure. Anyways, I didn't bring any snacks today, so that's helping. So we know the Sigma 16 has a bunch of great features. The price here in good old Canada is around $570, which is still somewhat expensive for a lens, but if you really compare it to some of those other lenses in the same category, especially the Sonys, it's really pretty affordable for the Sigma. Now, let's talk about the most important thing about camera lenses. Now, it's the enjoyability of using that lens. This Sigma 16 is a lot of fun to use. I like using it at all kinds of setup, handheld, on a gimbal, on a tripod, you name it, it's very versatile. I love how you can be creative with this lens. Sometimes with a wide lens, you really got to be creative to get the shots that you want. I may be lost. Quite possible. This lens is somewhat heavy, but not really heavy. It's not big, it's not small, it's just right. It feels really good in your hands and it feels like it's really well built. One of the biggest selling points of this Sigma 16mm lens is the fact that most people who own this lens or who have used this lens, they love it. They fell in love with this lens. You will not find many people complaining about this lens. It shoots great photos, it shoots great videos. I've even tried it for some astrophotography. I don't have a lot of experience doing that, but it was a lot of fun to shoot some time-lapse video as well. It does it all. I love the color of the leaves this time of year. I love these red ones especially. My hair used to look like that reddish orange when I was much younger. Now it's white, of course, but believe me, when I was younger, my hair looked like that, and I thought that was fantastic. Anyway, speaking of color, this lens gives you some great color, some great contrast. All you gotta do is get your settings right, your white balance right, and it'll work for you. So when it comes to getting great image out of your camera, there are several factors. The quality of your camera, your picture profile, this will make a big difference. But the quality of the lens will really help as well. I know it sounds odd, but for some reason, specific lenses that you use will give you a different look. Now, this Sigma 16 is one of those lenses, and when I pair with this camera, I really like the results of this lens. The image looks great, and there's a bit of a contrasty look to the shots. Now, I'm not sure if contrasty is a word, but I'm gonna go with it. In these shots, I'm using the basic picture profile on my A6400, or picture profile is turned off. There's no color correction or anything going on here. Okay, so there are a few things I don't love about this lens. First off, there's no internal stabilization in the lens itself. That's fine, but if you pair that with my camera, the A6400, there's also no stabilization in that camera. So you're not getting a lot of stabilization. That's fine. I said stabilization way too much. That's fine as well. Anyways, I like to pair this with the Ronin SC from DJI. I think it's a great gimbal, and when you put this on, it's a nice wide lens. It really stabilizes your footage and makes a nice smooth image, and that's what you want with this lens. Especially being so wide, it gives you some great footage. So let's take a look at some of the footage that I shot earlier this year with the Sigma 16mm lens on the Ronin SC. The Sony A6400, or really any Sony mirrorless camera, is really perfect for a gimbal. I have the DJI Ronin SC because I wanted a smaller, lightweight gimbal. It pairs really well with my Sony. You slap that Sigma lens on it and you got a good lens, you got a good camera, and stabilization from the gimbal, something that I love to have. Having a wide lens on a gimbal can give you some really unique shots. I also find because this lens is so wide, it's really easy to keep your focus tight. So overall, I really enjoy using this lens. The Sigma 16mm is a fantastic, versatile lens. Sure, it's not a zoom lens, you're not going to get a lot of the functionalities out of it, but I always love having one wide angle lens that I can use for different scenarios. I love shooting photos with this lens, and I also love shooting video. So for me, it's a fantastic lens to have as part of my kit. Of course, I want to have other lenses as well. Speaking of that, I'm about to pick up the Sigma 30mm, which will give me a different look. It won't be as wide, but I think that'll work really well. Hopefully it works well on my gimbal as well. Anyways, I appreciate you taking the time to watch my video. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If you want to subscribe to see some more videos on filmmaking and camera gear, that would be great. All right, so it's time for me to put the camera away and enjoy this beautiful weather and finish my hike. So far, I've only got lost once. That's lost once so far. That's pretty good for me. Anyways, thanks for watching, and if you don't see any more videos from me, it's probably a good chance I'm still lost in the woods. Best thing to do is don't send a search party because I'll get out somehow. I'm sure I'll be lost for a while. I'll make friends with the animals and make a little hut. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine.